So, the fourth album we're talking about is...
Well,
Josh's
actually,
pick.
hang on. We've not done our question of the day yet.
We're not on the question
no,
of the
have
day.
we? Ooh, question
How
of the
could
This
we
is the
forget?
fourth week.
Question of the
It's the only
day.
reason
Fourth
that people
week,
tune
man.
in.
What is this? Amateur hour?
Oh, question of the week. I don't fucking know.
What is our question of the day? I can't remember.
Oh, that was it. What is your favourite anime?
Oh.
Ooh. Kieran, should we let the resident weeaboos go first?
Yeah, we'll let the weeaboos
I mean,
go
who are
first.
you
Alright,
referring to there?
I think they're
I have
attacking
no
us,
idea
Jack.
who you're referring to.
I'm taking this
Get your
personal.
animes away from me.
I mean, if I had to pick my number one, it would probably be Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, just because it's equally wholesome
Right, okay.
as much as it is dark.
I really like Full Metal Alchemist. So I yeah, okay. Sorry.
The characters are
contributing.
sick.
I've in the last few months, I've finally got into Attack on Titan, and just the level of storytelling and
It's fucking unreal.
music and everything is just phenomenal. And it's not just one of the best animes. It's just one of the best shows. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, like, so mine is because I don't watch anime that much, but I have complete and utter nostalgia for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I used to watch it.
Oh
when I
yeah,
was a kid.
same.
And
Me
I
and
will still
Josh used to
rewatch
watch it all the
I will still
time at
rewatch
uni.
it for the nostalgia vibes. So mine's Yu-Gi-Oh! And it, like, I would have to pick. I'd be both, like, probably GX and then the main anime, just Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Well, the original anime.
I think, like,
Anything after that I've not watched because I've still.
There's no point.
Actually, no.
There's no. Don't bother.
No,
Don't bother.
I think five.
There's
I
no
think
point.
5Ds
There's
is
no
actually
point.
really
But
good.
do you know-
I think
do you know-
5Ds is really good.
Well, do you know what? I think, like, it's one of these things. I think I don't, like, I'll be like, oh, stop being a weeb or whatever. But at the same time, I feel like it's completely and utterly plausible that I might be like a hidden weeb.
Closeted
If
weeb,
I get
yeah.
exposed to anime, I'll just dive in straight first, and
Do
I
it.
might come out the
Just-
under end.
Honestly, Kieran, just accept it and
I know,
move
but
on
if
with
I
your life.
like,
Just,
I feel like I'd come out
honestly,
the
my
other
life
end.
is 10 times better for it, and yours will be as well. I
I
promise you.
guess. I'm scared that I'll come out the other end and start fencing or something.
Oh god. Oh.
I feel like
Oh.
I feel like I'll be a changed man forever.
That was a good one. I like that.
Oh, I
um,
really hope
whatever-
you're watching. I really hope you are.
Shout out to Lewis
I think,
Shevlin
like-
yet again.
Oh.
Whenever,
Why is
whenever
he just
I think,
he's the joke of this band and he's not even in it? My
He's not
God.
even in
whenever I think of favorite anime, there's only one thing that ever comes to my mind. There's only one anime that I love so much, and it's because my Lord and Savior, Filthy Frank, God bless your soul, he got me onto this anime, and I really love it. And that anime is called Cory in the House, and I fucking love that anime so much. It's just like, you know, it's Cory living in the White House, and, you know, there's America's Little Angel, and, you know, just doing all the president stuff. It's sick. I love it. It's my favourite animated series of all time. I fucking adore
Cory
it.
in the House. Right, because Kieran, because you've never watched anime, I will implore you so hard just to watch, because they're on Netflix, so you don't have to.
I've seen them on Netflix and always been like,
You
should
don't.
I,
You don't have to
shouldn't
pay
I?
for Crunchyroll or anything like that. But I would implore you to watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and Steins Gate.
And probably Attack on Titan as well, because that is the main one what I keep hearing about.
I recommend
Attack on Titan is
Fullmetal
really good.
Alchemist,
It is really
like,
good. And don't get me wrong, like the fourth season it's on at the moment is fucking ridiculous.
It's got absolutely amazing.
But like I feel like Attack on Titan's a bit more more serious, whereas I love the animes that they're kind of like a bit tongue in cheek as well.
I've just realised something. I've just realised something. So we're on about anime and everything, and you could class it as anime, I guess, because some of the it is, if I remember right. Basically, if you might have seen it on Netflix, I watched this show called I think it's Love, Death and Robots.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
I wouldn't say it's anime. It's like animation.
It can be inspired as well. I think some episodes are
no,
anime.
Love, Death and Robots is sick. It's
But
awesome.
I watched that and all of it, and I genuinely loved it. I thought it was very.
Oh, it's awesome. It's so
Yeah, just some of the episodes, like the way they're constructed. Some are very thought-provoking. Some are very like.
Some are fucking West.
So yeah, they're so far west. Like they're so far west, you'll end up in the Middle East, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a really weird show, but it's by David Fincher as well, like the guy who did Seven and.
Really,
and,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's all his.
That's interesting.
Thing.
But
yeah,
so
it's,
I
it's
think
a good show.
to seriously answer that question though, I'd either agree with Jack or Kieran. Full Metal Alchemist is really good. I really like Full Metal Alchemist like a lot, but I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is like it
has the best.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
theme tune I've
GX
ever
is
heard
part
in
of my
life.
childhood. Like,
Game on,
like,
get your game on.
I think it was only last year that I started watching 5Ds, and I actually, oh god, dare I say it, a little bit prefer it.
Oh, no, I can't
Prefer
agree.
it.
I mean,
I
I'm a little bit like. is
Okay,
this a
hear me
thing?
out. The first half of 5Ds with all the dark signers and shit, that is incredible. That's so well done. After that, it falls flat on its ass.
I can't stand because there's 5 in total. There's Duel Monsters GX, and then there's 5Ds.
5Ds. I
There's
don't know what
2
comes
more.
after. The XYZ's one comes after that. Arc 5, I think.
I can't remember.
yeah,
What
it's
it's called, but
Zexal and
I
then
just
Arc
can't- I
5.
can't stand that. They're too. The problem with card. I don't want to make this a whole anime episode, but the problem with card anime
no.
is it just feels like one massive like advert. It just feels like a massive like capitalist sell like. I don't know, like the Chin Pokemon episode of South Park. That's how I feel
love the Chin
after
Pokemon.
watching loads of like card anime, where you have to buy all the Pokemon to fight the ultimate power. Like, I just can't do it anymore.
Penis
The
very
evil
small.
power is the United States government.
Oh god, it's so awful. I love that. I love that.
Should we
episode
talk
so
about
much,
some
though.
music then?
Yeah. Let's.
Yeah,
move
yeah,
on
music-
before we
music
run
is
these
good.
races.
Let's
Album
talk about music.
review.
So this week we are talking about Rise Radiant by Caligula's Horse. It's by
It
an
slaps,
Australian prog metal band.
does.
Came out last year in May.
I do love. Sorry to come in straight away. I do love how the 2 bands Josh has like mainly showed me since I've met you have been both Australian, and I find that really funny.
Mate, Australia's got
Like,
Yeah,
I was
well,
like,
yeah.
of course, they're Australian.
Even, like-
a little
like
bit,
North.
you know. I love it.
Which
Even
was
like-
the other band?
Well, because it was you who wanted to. You were the one who was going on about Neobliviscaris. Like a
Oh
download.
yeah, of course.
So that was the other
Was
one.
Was it North Lane as well?
Another-
North Lane,
another
right?
great
North Lane are
band.
Australian, so yeah. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it was Noah who got me.
Yeah,
to North
I
Lane.
mean, I am half Australian,
No,
so
yeah, exactly. And
it
I'm
kind
just
of
like-
makes sense.
Basically, in my mind, the points connected. Like, oh, penny drops. Of course
Dual
you're Australian
citizen.
because Josh is half Australian. It's like if I introduced you to a Bolton band, even though there's not
A
really
Bolton
probably going to be
band.
a good one.
I could.
I haven't been back to Australia for 10 years, so it is just a coincidence I happen
I
to
could
be from
introduce
there.
you all
but-
to a Welsh band, but the one that I'm currently thinking of probably shouldn't be mentioned, so I'm going to stay very quiet.
I mean, there's absolutely no bands from Cumbria. I apologise if there's any bands listening that are from Cumbria, but like, there's
Yeah.
nobody lives there anyway. So to assume that there would be like a big famous band from there is a long stretch.
Watchers get
Wild
DM'd by,
Beasts
like a
are
Cumbrian
from
band.
Kendal. But
How
that's
dare you.
it.
How dare you? Anyway, go on, Josh. You were saying.
So I wasn't actually very familiar with this band until it was just late night when the album came out. I knew it was gonna come out, and I thought, well, it's a prog metal band. There's not much else being released at the moment because it's 2020. I was playing Minecraft on my Switch or something, and I just had it on, and straight away I went, "Oh my god, this is really good." It's really well produced, really refined. Like the band have obviously written a lot of music together, and they know what they want to do, and they've gone out and really created something good here.
I like the I think I read it on their I think it was on their Spotify bio. It might have been somewhere else. Just someone talking about that album and you know, as it was released or whatever, and kind of how it was meant to be an uplifting album, in the sense of, you know, to like, it wasn't meant to be at any point, you know, make you feel down or anything. It was meant to be like inspiring or whatever. And you definitely get that. You definitely get that feeling throughout the album with the track.
It does feel like, especially with the cover of like the deer and the mountains.
Yeah, it's very
and the green grass and like.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, some of the themes in the lyrics as well. Sort of how towards the end you get this whole epic about sort of like the passing the torch. He's talking about becoming a dad, but it's this uplifting, like, here you go. And Salt is it's quite a dark song, because I'm pretty sure it's about someone who's sort of on the verge of ending it, but thinking, hold on, if I can just make it to the morning, I can be all right and I can start to recover again.
I got those. I suppose I haven't really listened to the lyrics much. I was more just because obviously listening to, you know, we all listen to music anyway, don't we? So when I was listening to this album, I was mainly listening to how it made me feel, and I wasn't really dissecting the lyrics as much. But there's because on Spotify, I believe it's like the extended edition, what's on Spotify, and then the track after The Ascent, which is I think the final track if it's not the extended version, is this song called Don't Give Up. And it's
it's just a cover.
Yeah, and it's just a cover, and it's featured. Obviously, they've got a female artist on it. I don't know who she is. I don't even think it's mentioned who she is. I mean, maybe it is. I can't remember. And I just remember like listening to it and going, Jesus Christ, this is beautiful. And it kind of, even though it's not the official final track of the album or anything, it was a really weird way of following up from the album. You know what I mean? And then it just comes onto this track.
They pick two kind of odd choices of songs to cover, because there's Message to My Girl as well. But they do both of them quite well, at least I think. I enjoy listening. When I have the album, I do listen to the covers after The Ascent ends.
I must admit, I don't, because it says bonus track.
Yeah.
I don't count it. I've listened to them, but if I listen to the album, I stop at Ascent, because that to me
I know
is
the
their
album
intended project.
The album definitely ends with The Ascent, but it can't hurt to just have them on afterwards. It's not really part of the album.
Don't give up such a jam.
My main point was, after reading up about how the album was meant to be inspiring and kind of, you know, instill the listener with, I guess, courage and inspiration to carry on through whatever. Like, knowing that piece of information, and then knowing on that bonus version of the album that cover was there, especially Don't Give Up, and because it's beautifully covered, and it's you hear it and it's amazing. So that's where that was coming from, like that context, because obviously that kind of vibe is throughout the whole of the album anyway. This whole kind of essence of not giving up, and like you say in Salt, you know, for example.
Yeah,
it is especially because like the hell of the year we've just had, and with it coming sort of right in the middle of it, it definitely was something that I went back to a lot, and it always brought me.
I do think that's what this album does really well. It kind of conveys. It doesn't convey. It instills the listener with a sense of power, I guess, or at least, you know, it instills the listener, I guess, with a sensation of that there is a chance for change, and there is a chance for overcoming stuff. And like you said, maybe that's how I reacted to it really fully, because like you say, with everything in COVID, everyone's in a very weird boat at the moment. So listening to an album what's not neurotic, let's say, it's very hopeful instead. It's like the opposite. It's great. It's
Yeah,
refreshing almost.
You have in between this, you just have all the guitar riffs. There's so many really nice guitar riffs on this album.
I did write in
and-
my notes. There's one note that just says riffage, and then a plus. Like
you could basically talk about that in every track, but I think some of the highlights, like the Tempest, you have that riff with the synths on top, and there's a video where I think the singer and the guitar player, they're in the studio and they've got the Pro Tools project for the Tempest, and they're saying we made the riff and then we put synth on top, and you can't really hear it without the synth now. It's one of those things that you do in the studio and you just you can't imagine it without it.
I like
just adds really nicely.
The contrast as well. I mean, this is definitely where we're going to disagree, because obviously I think I already know what we have on our ideas about these tracks. But obviously the first few tracks, they're quite sonically heavy and dynamically heavy, and they're in your face. And then after Sol, I believe it's Resonate, which is a very tranquil and calm track, which I just loved. I was like, wow.
I
think it's a nice break in between. You just had this big epic that was Salt, and then Resonate sort of takes you into the latter half of the album.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of. My problem with Salt is I think it's too long. Because I just want to get it out there. I'm fine with like heavier prog albums having time to calm it down, like having time to take a breath and accept what's going on. Like that's good. Do that. That's fine. But why does it have to be a 7.5 minute track that doesn't really go anywhere? That's my problem with Soul. But with Resonate, is Resonate an interlude? Is it a separate track? The thing with Soul, it's kind of like I'm not really into it. That's fair. But with Resonate, it's like I don't really know what it is. Like, is it an interlude to the next track, or is it a track on its own? Because if it's an interlude, I'm like, all right, I can kind of forgive it. Like, that seems to be becoming more of a trend with albums. More and more albums are having more interludes, like as separate tracks, just because of the digital age that music is streamed in. Or is it a separate track on its own? Because if it's a separate track on its own, I don't know if it fits the album sonically, but like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Like, but then again, that's the only criticism I have of this album. Like every other track, I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking unreal. Like the Tempest is sick, Sweet Violence is sick, Valkyrie's sick. The Ascent is like the song of the year. It's unreal.
It is really good.
I've
written in my notes that this is the better version of Leprous.
I see. I know exactly what you mean. I love Leprous, but Leprous are a massive meme, and like I do love Leprous. They are a good band. They write some good tunes, but like this album probably has more songs that I like on it than like the entire Leprous discography, if that makes sense. Not to shit on Leprous, because The Congregation is a really good album, and their new album was really good as well. But Caligula's Horse have already written more bangers in one album than I think most Leprous albums have.
Yeah, I'd listen to like Leprous and I'd kind of think, yeah, it's alright. Like my thoughts on Leprous, I think they're really, really good. I'm not massively keen on the singer, but that's just me. That vocal style, I'm not a big fan of. Whereas I listen to this, and I think that's kind of like the Leprous with a singer that I'd rather.
Yeah,
if you get me,
for sure.
That's how I see it. Like again, nothing against the singer of Leprous. Like again, I still like Leprous, but it's just like if I was ever to critique them, it's not my kind of like vocal style. It's a very like unique kind, and I think it works
all
for
of the
a lot
R's.
of people.
I think on top of everything else that this album has going for it, I think the vocals just really make it. I think Jim Gray, I think his name is just phenomenal.
His falsetto,
really nice
amazing.
soaring cleans.
His falsetto is incredible.
Some of his high, so I was just gonna say some of his falsettos.
Some of the like
are
stacked
ridiculous.
harmonies and
It's very smooth. His vocal style in this album's very smooth.
it's very effortless.
There's never a point where it's like too heavy. Like it's always the right amount. Because there's the screamy parts, but there's also the parts where he's like belting it, and
It kind of
really
reminds
works.
me. It kind of reminds me of a less deathy version of Opeth, like old Opeth, less death metal version of old Opeth. I think
I
that's
can
what-
see
Demon
with
of the
some
Fall,
of
but
the
in head
riffs.
voice.
I kind of get what you mean.
Like,
yeah, it's like
especially
I know
in,
it's kind of.
I was gonna say, especially in Ocean Rise, his vocal range in Ocean Rise is like wow.
Yeah.
Because doesn't he? Because he he belts the start of the chorus and then switches to head voice for the rest of it, doesn't he? And then switches back to belt and he. Swaps
Yeah, he's got a
between-
really nice falsetto.
Yeah.
as well
It's really well done. Like,
It's beautiful. Plus,
when it's-
also, is it like near the end of the song where the instruments drop out and he's like, "Yeah, ocean," he goes, "Rise," and it's
Yeah,
just like,
that's really nice.
And then all the
Yeah.
instruments come back in. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's amazing. But he puts some grit into it. He does it, I did it in like a little teeny weeny, but he just sings it with so much grit at that part, and you're like, yeah. Yeah,
I
got
don't
to go.
like his
Yeah.
vocals,
You
to
get
be
the
fair.
softer
like,
tracks.
When he goes
I think
for
we got.
I feel like standing out of my chair and being
Yeah.
like, "Fuck yeah, man! Yeah,
It's-
you do
it's
it.
like-
Yeah, good for you."
It's
I
like
feel like putting your
I hate-
fist up in the air and going. Yeah.
I hate like using this word like because it just gets used ironically too much, but this is kind of like the true meaning of the word epic, I think.
Yeah.
I
like it
totally
is.
agree,
100%.
especially with songs like the Ascent. That is the definition of epic.
Yeah, just I think I almost count Autumn and the Ascent as one sort of like 16-minute. I know it's two separate tracks and they definitely have their different sounds, but it's definitely something. If you listen to it continuously, it's a really nice. It flows into each other really well
Yeah.
with that
The Ascent
with the drum
is-
fill and everything.
Yeah, the Ascent is one of my songs of like. I wouldn't maybe song of 2020. I'm not too sure, but like, it's definitely up there. It's absolutely
It was
ridiculous.
my song of 2020.
It's one of the
not
best
to,
metal
not to
songs
spoil
I've heard in a while. Let's
not to
put it that
spoil
way.
the review or anything, but this was my album of the year for last year.
Oh god, what score's this going to
Okay.
be then?
Oh, I
mean,
wouldn't say-
Speaking of
Yeah.
scoring, because I feel like we've aired out what we didn't like, didn't we? I think we have.
The only thing that I didn't like about this album was I wasn't a big fan of Salt and Resonate, but other than that, I did really enjoy this album. And
I think I'm kind of on the same page.
the songs that I like are like up there in my
Like,
estimations.
There's so many like good songs that I think it
Yeah,
counteracts
exactly.
like the ones that I find a little bit slow and a little bit more like I don't know. I don't want to say boring because it's not boring. It's just like I don't know how to describe it.
Maybe
It's just-
forgettable, but in a
Yeah,
less
yeah.
in a less mean kind of way. Like kind of just the songs that I don't like as much kind of just blend in.
Yeah, I wouldn't
in a
say
way.
I would. Yeah,
That's
I,
fair.
I wouldn't say it's completely forgettable because there's so many parts of this entire album that I could name like perfectly.
exactly.
Some sections that I could name perfectly, but it's just those select few that I kind of just don't.
Yeah,
Or-
for sure.
And I think they just like again. That's the only real downside that I see with this. Again, I think it's a phenomenal album.
Nice.
Shall we move on to scores? What we
Let's
saying?
do scores.
I mean,
Well,
as
I
it's
think
not
I know
my
what Josh
choice,
is
I'll
going
go
to give it.
first. But
Shall I'll start or
yeah,
go
go
on,
on.
Josh, go on.
I'll
So,
get
I'm going
the
to-
notepad out.
so this was my album of the year for 2020. It's a phenomenal listen. So I'm giving it 9 out of 10.
Oh, album of the year, but still a 9 out of 10.
Album? Damn.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm also the same as Josh, where a 10 in my eyes. Like, if you look at my playlist of what comes under a 10 out of 10, it's like the greatest albums of all time,
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
opinion.
Yeah.
So, for
I
that
get it,
reason, I didn't give it a 10 because there's a couple of tracks that I don't like. But, I did give it a 9 as well because I had a super fun time with it.
Yes.
And the tracks that bang do bang.
They do,
The Ascent alone makes up for the tracks that I don't really like. Like, The Ascent is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I give it a 9 as well.
Yeah,
I give it an 8. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I give it an 8.
You go.
You give it an 8, Kieran.
I give it an 8, yeah. I thought it was a very good piece of work. But yeah, I didn't think like. I think it's because I also knew the context of the message behind the album. You know what I mean? So strong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I also gave it a 9.
Ooh.
Like again, the only reason it's not a 10, like again, as Jack said, is like, you know, 10 is near on perfection. But again, it's very subjective. Like, if it wasn't for like Salt and maybe not so much Resonance, I think it was mainly Salt for me. Like, it would probably be a 10.
That gives a total score of 35 out of 40, which makes it
Very nice.
second highest scorer so far behind
Damn.
Origin.
Damn. So what's last again?
Health is last.
So far in our League of Legends, as we're calling it now.
League of Legends.
Jesus.
Last is currently Health Disco 4.0 with a 29 out of 40. Then it's Bill Murray with 32 out of 40. Then it's Caligula's Horse with 35 out of 40. Then it's Origin of Symmetry with 38 out of 40.
Damn. Just wait until this list gets like bigger and bigger, and we can look
gonna get-
back
Oh
on
yeah,
this list
when we're on
and be
like
like,
album
oh.
60.
I feel like we'd have to do another episode of this where we go back and rescore because people are gonna
Review,
get mad at
yeah.
us.
Oh, we'll have to do one for like what albums have come out this year. Like we all pick what our favorite album was this year.
Do it like towards the end of the end of the year, I suppose. Like end of the year.
Well, yeah,
special.
that's miles away.
Yeah.
Miles away.
Miles away.
Well, I guess.
So be sure to subscribe to stay so you don't miss that.
You can
Like, comment, subscribe.
hit that bell button.
and if you do, maybe you'll find
Hit
out.
that
Yeah.
bell
Never
button
heard
for
before.
notifications and follow on Spotify podcasts for the next episode to be added to your library.
We're on every
Hooray.
Thursday.
Indeed.
And if you want to listen to our music, it's on all streaming platforms. 2 singles out so far, and if I do say so, they both slap. So
They both slap.
Eyes closed and sun stars.
Tasty.
But thank you so much for tuning in. You Chads really make it for us.
I love that. Chads. Chad Army represent.
Chad Army!
Give this boy a medal, my god.
Wakanda
Chad
forever.
Army, no. Our antidote to Chads, no.
Antidote to Chads. And we've changed our band name just for you guys.
Oh.
So that's how
Antidote to-
much you mean to us.
Can
Wouldn't
our
the
fan
antidote
base
to
can just be
Chads
called
be the
Chads from
Virgin?
now on? We'll just call them Chads. That's it. They're just all Chads.
You Chads have been amazing out there. Thank you so much. Good night.